Does this fit? Does my clever iPad holder upper still work? It does. It does, Blanche. It does. It's still, there is a Santa Claus. Okay, today I've got to spend the entire day, I think, in the gallery and finish up what I need to finish up. So why am I up here doing this? Because it isn't even 5 in the morning. Maybe it's 5 in the morning now. I don't know. Kitty, is that you coming back? I like this pen. I'm going to keep this pen. I'm my best customer. There's something about the, it's like a young man that was born into a family of football players. The grandfather was a Yale superstar, and the father was in the NFL, and the cousin is in the AFL or whatever they are. I have no clue what I'm even talking about, but they're all big, beefy, butch boys, every single one of them. But this one wanted to go into the ballet. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be butch and be in the ballet. Doesn't mean you're effeminate or anything. It just means that you think it's more interesting to make beautiful things rather than slamming into people. But this pen, because it's a Schaefer, of course, it's a football player. Automatically, it wants to. It has the genetics of the male testosterone filled being that they are. Hard nibs that are just signing papers that foreclose on the little old lady with her 25 children. And anyway, the point is, this one, however, even though it's this stubby little cigar-shaped important banker's pen or whatever, it wants to do this. It doesn't want to do this. Well, even that's fancier than it wants to be. Its siblings would say, "What are you doing?" And you're supposed to be writing up that foreclosure notification, and you're making beautiful squiggles. But because there's just this, I really am pressing down really, really hard, and it only goes to 1 in a scale of 1 to 10. 0 to 10, it goes from 0 to 1. But that one little tiny difference between a fine nib and a fine line and a stiff line is really what makes this pen interesting, because it sort of can't just make one line. It's funny. Some pens you can draw, even if they have the same amount of flexibility as this pen. Some pens just going to be like that. This is the brother. This is like, even this one doesn't want to do that. They all do it to a little bit, because just the way your hand works and the muscles of your hand and the direction that the pen is going, I think there's always going to be a slight difference between the upstroke and the downstroke. But this pen wants to just do one thing and one thing only, and it wants to do it fast and accurately and foreclose and foreclose and foreclose and foreclose and foreclose. This one wants to, send a box of chocolates to the foreclosee. This one wants to just make the, this guy here, he's the one that invented the guillotine. He wanted it to be not as painful as it might be. So he made it more beautiful, if that makes any sense. Decapitation more beautiful, but there's just something that this one wants to, when he does play football, when he was in college, and he was a good football player, but rather than going from A to B and go, here's the goal line, whatever football is, the goal line, touchdown, he has to go here, whatever this is. He's here. He wants to go here with the ball, and there's all these other brutes that want to stop him. And so he wants to go this way, but he, through his knowledge of the game and how it's played, he, sort of has to do this. But this guy, rather than just doing that, he does this. He makes a couple of extra little motions that are beautiful. He's thinking, I want this to look really good when they do the replay. When they do the slow-mo, when they do the flyover with the drone. I want them to be able to map this out so that they can see that it says, fuck you, other team. How do you, I just, what a Monday morning quarterbacking newscast people, they'll say, number 10, did you see the way he ran down the field? Watch, and then I'll say, fuck you, other team. Can we say that on TV? Can he say that can he run that way? Is he able to do that? So this pen, look at what this pen makes me think. I didn't have ever have these thoughts in my head before. I tried writing with this pen. I have other pens that I've written about that have nibs that are similar to this. If this was the pen that was slightly longer, I would have told a different story. But because this is that short, stubby kind of pen, it made me think of a short, stubby kind of ballet dancer. Do they have short, stubby ballet dancers? I don't even know. Do they have to be? I know you're supposed to be tall when you're playing basketball. And I was tall, so I had to play basketball. This is another pen that it's like this. This one is a football player. And he does exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to go from A to B in a straight line, and he might have to do a curved line, he might have to do this, but he doesn't, there's not one thing he does to make it any more beautiful. He just does his damn job. And this pen was scratchy, but with a little tiny tweak on my little tiny pliers, I was able to make the nib halves line up. And now the only flaw of this pen is, well, in my opinion, the only flaw is, hello, Kesh, is that it has a little tiny crack up here. the flaw that you might see in this pen is that I own it. And you're supposed to own it. And you can own it. You just let me know if you want to buy it and I'll sell it to you. $1 million, add to shopping cart. What am I blabbering about? I'm blabbering about pens. I was up at 4 a.m. I was up, yes, it is 5. I was up at 4 o'clock and I was already doing what I have to do in order to get through the weekend here correctly. I don't know if pens are. I like them a lot. I think drawing is my first love. But, I need a pen to do that, or I use a pen to do that most of the time. So you may have to love our violin or our pickup truck or our fountain pen to do our job, but it's the job of drawing that I like. And the pens that I'm using, these are as different in my hand as 10 violins are as different to someone who plays the violin. They all have a slightly different feel to them, slightly different sound, and you might like one day and another one the next. It is all the same. The weekends, though, are when I get to sometimes do urban sketching. And it's also a time when other people don't have jobs. They're on their weekends, so they can play with me. If I want to play by myself, it's the same. I can do that any day. But if I want to interact with other people, sometimes the weekend is the day that can work. Now, what about this pen? Is this a football player? This pen doesn't have the muscles of the one that I started with today. This one it sort of does kind of the same thing as the other one, except this one, it's not surprising in this one, because this pen isn't as butch as the other one, even though the nib is somewhat similar. So Kesh, I don't know, did you ever mention me, your dearest friend, who in making your Cine animation thing, intro? I don't remember you mentioning it in your first video. Cinema Hall. Here's another pen that's similar to that other one. It's a nice big butch pen. Okay, this is what I want. I came over here to do this. I came over here to see if I can take this pen apart so I can fix it. That's why I got up here. These are friction fit, and usually soaking them will dislodge any of the gunk that's in it. So I can put a new sack in it. But it's not doing it. So we take our little pliers and our little rubber thing so I can get better traction. See? That's all it needed was more muscle. Sometimes you need heat. Yes, I know, and I saw your thing that you... I know, Kesh, I know. I know. And I saw something in the news about the reunion or whatever. Look at that. Where's Mr. N ink guy? I've taken apart the Greg pen so I can put a sack in it. Greg pens were made for the Greg Shorthand Company, Shorthand School, Shorthand, what's the word I want, Frederick? Shorthand System. Maybe that's what I want. Before Frederick answers that, I'm going to guess that he probably knew of its existence, but probably never watched it. Or never watched it. I think of Friedrich as a documentary kind of guy. Yes, it was used for stenographers, but do they call the Greg the method? Maybe that's the word I'm thinking of. So Friedrich, I have a feeling that you're a documentary kind of guy. And maybe drama. I don't think you're a romance guy, or maybe you like comedies too. But I think of you as Mr. Factoids. You don't watch TV at all? You must watch TV, some TV. I don't watch TV anymore, but it's because I couldn't pay my TV bill. And when I did watch TV, I watched 2 channels. And I would tell my TV provider people, say, I want to watch this and this. I want channel 2 and I want Turner Classic Movies. Oh, well, you want this? And I said, no, I don't want that because I don't watch sports. Oh, you want the Home Improvement? No. I want 2 channels, channel 2 and channel 64 or whatever, 68, whatever it was. And can I just get that? No, you have to get, that's the entertainment channel. Okay. I would like to cancel. But sir, you can watch. Like, what don't you understand? I want to watch this and this. End of list. The list is now concluded. I like lots of things, Kesh. Sometimes I like different kinds of things at different times, and I don't know. It's hard to know what I like. I'm not easily pigeonholable. A friend of mine that used to live in the building loved watching 2.5 Men, and he, when I was over at his house, it would be on, and it was funny to a degree. But I thought, if I watched it every day, I would go mental. It was just the humor was a little tiny bit too sophomoric, even though it's sophisticatedly sophomoric, I guess. Now, did I just break this lever? What did I do wrong? And why did I do it wrong? I'm hard to please. I am hard to please. But Kesh, here's the deal. I just want to explain something to you. Even though, as you know, because I draw, I'm a very visual person, but most of the time, TV shows are very unvisual. They're radio shows that you can see the actors. And there are some TV shows that do bring in visual humor, which I like when they do that. Like Dick Van Dyke, the old Dick Van Dyke show was great because there was a lot of visual humor in it, and not just expressions and not just people's eyes rolling or scratching their head or something like that, but you actually got to see visual play going on, which I really like. And a TV show that is just, it might be very funny, but if it's dialogue based, I tend to just listen to them, and I enjoy just listening to them because I can draw and I can fix pens while I'm listening to it. But I think there was something about that show that required me to watch it because of the facial things. I think that's what you told me, that I had to look at what their reactions were, and that I know I should like it, but I don't. I didn't. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, Carol Burnett show was good for that. What I hated about the Carol Burnett show was their quote skits always ended, or often ended, very lamely. There wasn't the resolution I was looking for. Tim Conway and Harvey Korman at the dentist was very funny to watch, and but I don't know what I was hoping to have happen, but they often never did. And I can't explain what I wanted them to do. Is there some way that I can just invent a little nano robot to go in here and clean this out? so I don't have to use all of my picks and can't they just climb in there with their pickaxes? Of course I remember you, Runetoon. What are you doing up so early? It must be 3 in the morning in Wisconsin or Minnesota or wherever the hell you're from. Wisconsin, right? See, it's supposed to go all the way back. Oftentimes, if I'm impatient, I'll just cut it off there and call it a day. I generally do put a sack that's just a little tiny bit shorter than what could actually fit in the pen, just because, look at this little one. See this? I want this to be a pick. I don't want it to be the jaws of life, though. What are you're traveling to Nebraska right now as I talk to you? You're in the back seat of the car. You remove the lever. Why don't you just... That's way too much work. See? All that stuff that's coming out. See all the dents I'm putting on the back of this thing? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Did he just die recently? I mean, in the last couple of days? Or did he die a year ago and now you're finally burying him? Sometimes if people die in the winter, they keep them on ice. I've never been to Lincoln. Okay, now what have I done? Did I screw this up somehow? So did your great grandfather die today? I mean, in the last week, or earlier? And you're just burying him now. Can you answer that for me? I have been, the closest I've been to Nebraska was driving north of there from Idaho to Minnesota. So, and from Idaho to Minnesota, you sort of want to go the fastest possible way you can, rather than veering off any other direction. So no. Earlier this week. What was his name? Granddad. Great granddad, sorry. Oklahoma. Oh, Oklahoma, blah, 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 blah. California. Wow, you're going all over the place. Lincoln Arthur. Or was his last name Lincoln? Why am I keep putting the same size sack in the pen thinking it's going to work. And do you think it's going to work? Was he named after if that's his first name, was he named after the town he was born in? If that were the case, I'd be Minneapolis Gustafson. So was this your maternal great-grandfather or your paternal one? Was it from the Arthur family or the whatever your mother's maiden name is? I don't know. You're asking me what kind of barrel this is. What? What is Lincoln's last name? And this is probably a 16 sack. So putting a 16 in this is going that far back. It just might be that the pressure bar has some gunk still on it, or it's bent or something. And again, this is, someone like you who restores pens might go all out and try to clear out every last bit of detritus. And then there's people like me who cannot. See, it only goes back to there. That's where the thing stops. Okay, Runetoon. He has a last name. Lincoln something. God. Just like your name is Gunther Arthur. What is his last name? Lincoln what? He might be a junior, in which case it would be Lincoln Smith Jr., meaning that's what his father's name was also, Lincoln. Is it, unless his last name is Junior? Yes, Arthur. He could be your mother's grandfather, which means his name could be any number of other names. if this came from your father's side, it would be Arthur, but thank you. So Lincoln Arthur. Lincoln Arthur Jr. or Lincoln Arthur. Thank you, Runetoon. My great-grandfather's name on one side of my family was Gustafson, and on the other side of the family it was Nelson. Oh, those were my grandparents, Nelson and Gustafson. But my great-grandparents, now the names are doubled. And great-great, they're tripled. They're doubled again, quadrupled, unless they married someone in their own family or with the same last name. So maybe Arthurs all marry other Arthurs in your family. Well, what was your mother's grandfather's name? Or what was your mother's maiden name? I guess that's what I'm asking. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get more coffee and I'll be right back. I have returned. Greek, it sounds. I was unable to find your great-grandfather's obituary online, so it was surprising. I would think that would be front page news. There's lots of there's a lot of Arthur Lincolns, but there's not any. Okay, what I'm going to do, Friedrich, I'm just going to use this sack, and I'm just going to make it short because I'm too interested in seeing how this pen will write to find a longer sack to put in it. That's more than enough, more than long enough. Where's my scissors? How's Parker doing? Stephen and Stephanie. Well, that's just cruel. That's a cruel thing your whatever he was to you grandfather did. Stephanie Stephanopoulos. Stephen, Stephanie, dinner. But your family sounds like it has a sense of humor. Was it the mayor or the governor of the mayor? I think the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, was named Cianci, 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 and he decided to name his daughter Nancy Ann. So Nancy Ann Cianci was her name, and that seems just exactly the same. Listen, Cash, if Runetoon is from a funny family, it's great. If he's making funny jokes, it's even greater. So let him just have fun. I don't care whether what he's saying is true or not. So this pen I got from Mike Cross. No, is that his name? Kraus. He sells pen parts. And this was in his blowout sale for I think $15. And that's the best $15 I spent. Though I did buy this for $10, this barrel. And I put Effextinol's dip nib that he sent me in it. But I like these shitty off-brand overlays because they're very crappy, but they are good enough to hold. They're very good for holding these pens. And if my eyeballs are out of focus, which is sort of what they do these days anyway, it almost looks like it could be a nice pen. There's a fountain Facebook page that Fountain Pens Exchange or something, and most people want to buy something. They want to say, I'm looking for a cap for a Waterman 18. They don't say, I've got a cap for a Waterman 18. But they might. I have a barrel for a Waterman 20 I'd like to sell. I'm never going to use it. I was helping a woman in my building clean her house or organize her studio, and in a cup full of brushes and pliers and pencils and stuff, there was this magnifying glass, and I took out the magnifying glass, and I could see what the barrel was made of, the handle was made of, before I saw what it was connected to, and maybe it was lying down, and I saw this Waterman 20 barrel from across the room, and I went over, and was a magnifying glass was shoved into it. So, and I said, this is the bottom of a pen. You don't have the rest of it anywhere, do you? And she said she didn't. I said, well, this is worth a couple $100, I bet, to someone. Uh, what kind of wall Eversharp parts do you want? Because I have hundreds of them. I know that sound of cracking that you're hearing. You're afraid that I'm breaking the pen or the nib or something, but I'm actually running over the little pieces of sack, which you hear crunching. I will guess before I look at what you're saying, I bet you want clips, rollerball clips, and I bet you want, of course, everyone wants nibs, but I bet rollerball clips and skyline clips. I bet those are some of the things you want. But it could be you want a barrel for a skyline. Is Rune Toon still here? Did you scare him away again? This had a lot of tarnish on the clip, which it still has some of. And the gold plating is sort of bubbling up. So it has some issues. We can just call it bad complexion. But I can look past that. I can look past Richard Burton's pock-marked face and just listen to his voice. And I don't notice the pock-marks. The nib is flex, super good. The blur lever, no good. The cap is... okay, well, you have to tell me what pin it is. It sounds like you have a nib. Everything else sounds like it's fucked. When the pen was in perfect shape, what color was it? See, what's wrong? This pen is perfect. Its shiny little clip is causing light to reflect in my gloomy house. Did I fill this already? You can do that, but you can probably just describe it. Is it cigar shaped or is it shaped like this? Is it shaped like this or is it shaped like... or is it shaped like this? Is it a torpedo shape like that? Or is it shaped like this? Step one. Yeah, you can text me on Pierre Gustafson on Instagram if you want to send me the picture. Or it could be metal, it could be a sterling or gold fill pen. But flat on the top and bottom. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So now it's, what color is it? blue. Oh, what did they call that blue? It was lazulitic blue, I think. Well, you have a valuable pen. If the barrel just needs a lever, and if the cap just needs a clip, it might be worth it to go the long road and try to find those parts from someone. If the color doesn't mean anything to you, and you just want to use the nib in a pen that works, you can probably find a beater in black or hard rubber. Did they call it I thought they called it lazulite, rather than, they left the lapis off because I think that was used by Parker. Runetoon, are you still here? God. He never stays long, Cash. You chase him away. The nib might have a number on it. Well, or it might not. It might say wall signature. Lazulitic. Hello there, FX Technol. I just wanted to show you, I mentioned you earlier, I put the nib that you want to have me have somehow. We will deal with the details later. I put the nib that from the dip pen into this holder, which was a cheap holder I got from the guy that you bought your Schaeffers from. I got this barrel from him. And the feed is a little not quite right. I don't know if the nib fits perfectly in this pen, but it's okay to do what I do with it. Well, I know you are here now, but Runetoon, either Runetoon's actual real family has a sense of humor when it comes to names, or the man who pretends to be Runetoon and lives somewhere else on the planet and is not named Gunther Arthur, has a sense of humor and an imagination. And Kesh doesn't like that. He wants the internet only to be about truth. So either way, Runetoon is welcome. If he has a real great aunt and uncle named Stephanie and Stephen Stephanopoulos, that's funny and great. If he lives under a rock and has internet access and is named something entirely different and doesn't have any relatives of any sort, living or dead, then he has a sense of humor. So either case, it's better. Wall flex. Okay, oops, that's not the pen. So Mitch, this pen that I sent you, I'm deciding I want to keep. This is the one you didn't want. And I really love its It's the football player that gave up football to go into the ballet. It just has a little tiny bit of flex and personality. Well, the pen is either long and skinny like this or short. Or they could both be fat, I guess. Long and fat, or short and fat, or short and skinny, or short, whatever. It would be a nice pen to get complete. But it's going to cost a lot of money, probably. Whereas if you really like that nib and want the nib to be in a pen that you want to draw with or write with, there is probably a cheaper way for you to get a pen that is complete, has a lever and has a clip, that is plain black, that nib will fit into. Was it? I'm sorry. Thank you for resetting it for me. It does have some really bad plating wear on the back here. It was shoved in and out of a tweed jacket or something for its entire life. And, you know, it's a pen that one could easily ignore. You know, it doesn't sing to me, but it whispers really, really nice. This would be a good pen for phone sex. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. Tell me what I like. Yeah, I like when you tell me what I like. You know, that's what this pen is doing. Oh, I see. It also has a big scar on its. Someone took up big old pliers. That's okay. Yeah, you like it when it turns into that kinky ASMR. Yeah, you like that, don't you, Mitch? I bet you do. Yeah, I bet you do. You like giving your brain an orgasm. Listen to the way that nib sounds on that paper. Up and down it goes. Upstroke, downstroke. Up and down, up and down. Yeah. You like that, don't you, Mitch? Right? I should just do that. Just talk about pens and make them just as nasty and pornographic as I possibly can. I'd have 1 million viewers. I have a fucking ad on my, what are these called again? YouTube? I have ads now. Did I ask for ads? Video will, start after 10 seconds. No, I do not want that. Now the whispering ASMR, there's one guy that I started watching, and it doesn't, I don't get the brain orgasm that some people get with ASMR, but I really do like sounds and noises, and The sound of the pen on the page is nice. The sound of the Heidelberg press, you know, ka-chink, 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 and then you walk over to the other side and you can hear the air pressure valve sucking the paper onto the plate, and then you hear on the other side of the machine, you hear the thing unsuck. Clink, 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 and then you hear the little sound of the little counter, you know, click, 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 click. And then meanwhile, the whole machine, which is the size of a Volkswagen, is ka-chugging along. But the little tiny whispery sounds I really like. If you can make the big sounds disappear. And so this guy was doing his ASMR thing, and I like what he chooses to do. Some ASMR people drive me mental because they're saying things that make me want to listen to what they're saying, and like they're reading a ghost story or something. And if they're whispering a ghost story or a detective novel or something, it doesn't work because my brain is trying to figure out who done it. And I want to get closer to the speaker and turn the volume up, and I get really, really frustrated. But the people that do ASMR well are people who, I think, are people who do something that is equally unimportant. So this one guy that I like, he had a bunch of pennies, just hundreds of pennies that he dumped out on the table. And he would pick the penny up and he'd say, "This is a penny from 1964, and this was minted in Denver." And then he puts it down, and he picks up another one, and he says where that's from. And it was good because you just heard these abstract noises, and you saw this repetitive thing in the background. And he also did one where he leafs through a Sears and Roebuck catalog from 1961. So the paper is really, really thin, and so it crinkles and sort of makes a certain noise. And then he'll read the description of the lawnmower, and then his eye will light on something else, and he'll read the description for that. And then he'll turn the page and then read a little bit about the snowplow or whatever is on the page after the lawnmower page on Sears and Roebuck catalog. And there's something about that makes your mind go blank and makes me fall asleep. But other people, I can imagine it would make that brain orgasm thing work, because it has to trip. It has to go past the brain trying to figure things out to just doing what it does to have that orgasm. It has to be outside of its usual job of trying to comprehend things. So it's just this sensory thing that goes into the brain, into the ear. And so if I were to do that with my pens and do my whispering orgasmic thing, I think if I actually tried to make it sound too dirty, it may not work. The There was one I tried to fall asleep the other day. Well, every day I try to fall asleep, and I usually listen to some astronomy lecture or something. I don't know what it is I listen to, but it puts me to sleep. I'm interested in it. It's not because it's boring. It's just because it's a voice I recognize. If you like astronomy, listen to Parallax Nick. He's really interesting in how he presents astronomy. He doesn't go off into the realm of trying to show how insignificant we are by the scale of the universe, which many people try to do. He admits that, but what he does is delight in showing sort of how we do fit in the universe, we humans, and our understanding of how the universe works by learning a new thing, by a new experiment or a new space probe that went somewhere. And the human intellect is increased by one little tiny step by this thing. And he's very good at keeping us in there. It's more a history of astronomy than actual astronomy, I think. And I really like him. And he has a very, his voice is very humble, I think. And I really like that. There's another guy I used to watch who would solve Sudoku puzzles. And I really liked him a lot too, because he would, as he's solving the puzzle, these were very difficult puzzles that were sent to him, and they usually were puzzles that involved more tricks than just a hard Sudoku. It was Sudoku that had other things that were somehow magical. And he would struggle through it, getting the easy things and getting the medium hard things, explaining how the medium hard ones. And then he would, because he was doing this live, he would occasionally see something that was brilliant, and brilliant on the part of the person that created the puzzle, not him, and solving it. He never sort of took credit for being able to solve it, as some people do. It was that he would thank and delight in the cleverness of the person who designed it. And I thought that was really rather nice change. Friedrich, you'll get a kick out of this one. There is one ASMR whispering fall asleep video. You'll fall asleep in seconds with this Trans-Siberian Railway trip or something. And you pressed play, and it had this fake background of a train car with I think it was an animated figure that represented had the voice, the ASMR voice coming out of it. And there was just, everything was wrong. It was like, this is not what a train looked like. This is not what a train sounds like. This is, completely wrong. Everything about it was wrong. And I was screaming at the fucking iPad. Yeah, reading books helps. There's a couple of people that I listen to on books. They're audio books, and there's some people I like and some people that just drive me nuts. And I like them, and there's just one part of it that drives me nuts. And there's one guy that Speaks on Horror Babble is his name, and he reads H.P. Lovecraft books. But he pronounces the word one, O-N-E, or whenever you would see that in a word like no one or everyone, he pronounces it as if you were pronouncing J-U-A-N, Juan, no Juan. Juan had this. And just that one word, whenever it pops up, it's like a chicken bone, a fish bone in your throat when you're at a fine restaurant and you're eating away and enjoying it. And suddenly this invisible bone gets caught. So his one word, Juan, drove me crazy. It was like the guy that was reading the Chernobyl story. All of his Russian was perfect. He got his Russian names right. Well, they sounded right. I have no idea if they were right or not. But every time the word came up in the story, the 700-page book, it probably happened every third page, maybe. Nuclear is what he said. Nuclear, not nuclear, but nuclear. Put the U right there. And I wanted to throw the book out the window. So Chernobyl was Russia's first nuclear power plant. No. Take two. And we do it all the time. I mean, I make that mistake. It's funny. There was someone that I was talking about someone that he was listening to, and he was saying the conversation was very funny because the guy said it has a certain je ne sais, and rather than saying je ne sais quoi, he said je ne sais pas. And so whenever I just thought that was so funny. And now my brain says je ne sais pas when I want to say je ne sais quoi. I say je ne sais pas, so people think I'm stupid now. But anyway, it's just very funny. And my mother, for example, she had 4 words she could not pronounce. Switzerland, she would always say Switzerland. Aluminum, she would always say alulalum. She would not say borrow. She'd say bower. And what was the other one? Was it some sort of cheese? No, that's Switzerland. I'll have to ask my brother. But there were 4 words she would always get wrong. And every once in a while, I have a hard time with borrow because of that. I think I often will say bower because my mother said it, and that brain cell must be wired in that way. Je ne sais pas, yeah. I know. You were very excited talking about it, Effextinol, and you also made that same error by using nuclear when you were, and it's easy to do because it's very easy to make that mistake. I will find it for you. I'm sure you've probably read the book, but it was a Books on Tape, Books No, was it audiobooks? Audio books. Chernobyl. Chernobyl. It looks like there's no, because I wrote Loud Dip Books Chernobyl. No, I want audiobooks Chernobyl. Thank you. Midnight in Chernobyl. I don't remember which one it was, but I can, let me find it on YouTube. Audiobook. I think it was this one. Maybe not though. Let me just, part 1 and part 2. Yeah, see, this is the one.
Terrifying that we were afraid to say it aloud, recalled Uskov. When they told the shift's deputy chief engineer, Mikhail Lyutov, about the graphite upon his arrival, he dismissed their fears. Lyutov's full title was Deputy Chief Engineer for Scientific Affairs, and he declared that if anyone could tell him the temperature of the graphite inside the reactor, he would describe the state of the reactor precisely. They responded that the graphite was not inside but outside the reactor. Lyutov did not believe them. Although they interviewed him about his accomplishments and plans for the future, Brekhanov, usually a man of few words, suddenly opened up to the visitor. He recalled a cold winter day in 1970 when he had come to Chernobyl.
Whatever. If you listen to for 3 minutes, you'll have the word nuclear. Yeah, I mean, it is funny how that does happen. It, yes, effects and all. I mean, yes, Friedrich. It was je ne sais pas, and now I say je ne sais pas all the time when I mean je ne sais quoi, which I don't say it every day. It has a certain je ne sais quoi, but I say je ne sais pas instead, even though I know I'm wrong. I can't help it because of that story. There's one audiobook I really, really like, and I bet you guys would like it too. And it does put me to sleep to a degree. It's I will find it for you. Come on. It's a LibriVox recording. Chronicles of Crime. And
Preface to the Chronicles of Crime, Volume 7 of the Chronicles of Crime, Volume 1, by Camden Pelham. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Part 7. John Shepherd, executed for housebreaking. The prisoner, whose name heads this article, was a companion and fellow in crime to the notorious Blueskin. The name of Jack Shepherd is one which needs no introduction. His exploits are so notorious that nothing more is necessary.
Jack Shepherd is this criminal who was caught and convicted, and he escaped, and he did more crimes, and he was caught and convicted, and he escaped and caught, and he finally was hanged. But it's like no jail could keep him. Anyway, what's neat about that book, it was written in the 1800s, and the words that the author came up to describe the various crimes and the various criminals he got tired of using the word murderer or whatever. So there are these miscreant, this miscreant did this, and but it's delivered in such a deadpan manner that it's really quite interesting to listen to, I think. The Chronicles of Crime. No, this was back in the olden days when they would do that. This was when public executions was a thing. We have to keep and actually his execution, I think it was his execution or some other sort of notorious person was executed, and there was such a stampede to get to or to leave or to do something at the execution that like 20 people died because they were crushed to death by so many people wanting to watch it. So that's really, it's a interesting book because it's written in this language that we don't speak anymore. It's wouldn't call it flowery, but it's just using words and sentences that are, 30 words long rather than 10 words long. But they're not so convoluted that you can't figure out where you're going. It's not like Proust, where halfway through a sentence that has 800 words in it, you don't even remember what day it is in your life, let alone what day it is in France. Fatty. It's fatty. Yeah, you like them when they're really fat, don't you? Don't you? Yeah, really fat pen. Big, thick, fat line. Holding that thing in your hand and grasping it. Right? Am I going to be shut down? Did you answer my question I asked a long time ago? How's Parker doing? I may sell this pen. One of my urban sketchers was here yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was, some number of days ago, and he wanted a pen that could hold waterproof ink. So I thought of this one, and I loaned him a Waterman pen for him because he has 10 or 12 pens, but they're all modern. And I said, well, let me loan you one. And I loaned him a Waterman. The Waterman that I sent you, Fextonol, the one that had the little marks on the side, because it had a little flexible nib on it. And I thought he might be hooked. And he loves the pen, but he does watercolor on top of ink drawings. And I said, well, what you need is a safety pen then. You need this one. And I showed him this one. And he now wants a pen like that. And I said, well, you can buy it, but they have steel nibs. So I offered to sell him this one for $100, which I think you can buy them new for 60, but this one has a gold nib in it, a gold Waterman nib from the 40s. And it was really hard finding a Waterman nib that would fit this. The regular number 2 size did not. It had to be the smaller size from the 40s. So I thought that was a good price, a fair price. Well, the nib that fits in this pen that I found that fit in it was a Waterman, one of those thoroughbreds or whatever they were called, those ones that look like Esterbrook's. Whatever that series is called. They often have a section that is rounded like that, that are hard to take apart. Okay. Well, I don't know if I want to sell it to you, Mitch. Why would you want? Why do you need one of these, Mitch? It's a pain in the butt to use. I mean, you're welcome to. I mean, you can buy one of these pens right now. I think one of the reasons I wanted to, if I were to sell this one, I love the fact that it's brown hard rubber. But if I were to buy another one, I'd buy the clear one, the clear plastic one, so I could show people how it works. You know, I can describe how it works, but the reason that India ink won't dry out the pen is it's submerged. Well, you can't see it being submerged in here because you can't see through it, and you can't see the post inside of here. So I should have bought a clear one when I had the ability. I don't know if Nathan even makes them clear anymore. Seems to me at the pen show he said he made only a limited edition. So maybe I lost my chance. Yeah, the Nathan sold this for $60 for me, and I think that was the retail price, and I don't think he could cut me a deal. Partly because why should he, even though we've known each other for more than 30 years and we're both in the business. I would think I would be able to get a wholesale price, but I think part of the reason is it was at a pen show, and sitting next to him were his London retailers. So I don't think he could undercut them. Yeah, well, I missed the bateau then. I do have, though, I suppose I could do this. Just a minute. Stand up. Move my fat ass over here. This looks like a piccolo. These are all my demonstrators. So this is a demonstrator more safety. So you do see, I could turn on lights. Would that help? Oops, I'm running out of power here. You do see the little post, and it shows that much. This one shows how the lever squeezes the sack and how the inner cap works. What does this show? Oh, this is a window display. What they would do, Mitch, if you don't know, imagine Frederick knows, but they would put wooden pens in the window at the pen shop so that if someone broke the window to steal the pens, they wouldn't steal a pen. So this is a Waterman with its price sticker still on it, but this is made of shitty plastic and the lever is made of shitty gold fill, and everything about this is shitty. Doesn't have an inner cap. Has its price sticker. This one is a you're sending people pens. I don't get any pens. Look, there's another demonstrator Waterman cap. Here's a demonstrator pencil showing how the gears work. Here's a demonstrator Waterman Patrician with a glass inner cap. Here's just a solid piece of, it sounds like ceramic almost. It's very hard. And it's just one piece that looks like a pen that would go on the window. Here's another Waterman demo pen. This one is a John Hancock cartridge pen, showing how the cartridge would fit in. Yeah, well, that's what this one is made of. This is just brass. I bought these two pens on eBay. There's another one here somewhere. Here it is. It came with a number of different pens, and I thought these might be real, but the picture was taken from about a mile away, and consequently I couldn't tell if it's real or not. Look at this sweet nib. Okay, what's this one going to do? Oh, it's just prickly. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Yeah, look at that. Someone that I once knew, a pen collector, described fine nibs that were flexible like that as prepubescent pubic hair, is how he described them. Okay, this is not a demonstrator, that's just a clear one. Here's a demonstrator vac, the hole cut through it. Here's a wooden Conklin Crescent. This one showed the A.A. Waterman twist sack. Here's another window display. Another wooden pen. Another you're gonna send your, oh, I have to do work. You're just not gonna gift pens to me. I have to. Why does this look like this? Why is that thing cut in there like that? Who knows? Okay, put these back. Okay, I'm back, but I have to stop because my power is at 11%. So we'll see you all later. Bye.